I won't scream, even though I am with Scream. You scream, though, don't you?
Yeah, I give it a go every now and then. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I'm
And
more of a like singer. I like to think, than a screamer as far as vocal style goes. But one of my favorite singers is a singer for the Sonics, and I think he might hold the record for the most screams in one album. And
you think so?
I think so. Yeah, I think I heard a DJ say that one time.
Interesting.
You
I didn't know
familiar
that.
with that band, Sonics?
Yes, we are familiar with them, but now we
from
have
the other Washington. We're from Washington D.C. They're from Seattle, Washington.
the other side of the country.
Exactly.
And
They were a big influence on our band. Actually, one of the first. We started out playing, high school backyard parties and keg parties in the Virginia suburbs of Washington D.C. and we cut our teeth on cover songs of bands that we like. A lot of 60s garage music, and the Sonics, we did a couple songs by them regularly, like Strychnine and He's A-Waitin'. And then also a lot of British punk bands had a huge influence on us at that time as well. And that's how we kind of learned how to write our own stuff, was by, playing music, covering bands. And so our first sets were, probably half and half even,
but they just inspired you to write your own and to bring your own creativity.
Yeah, we learned how to write songs and play our instruments by playing other people's songs, right? Right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Nothing, unusual there. That's how most bands kind of figure it out.
But at the same time, you guys became one of the key. Whoops, it's all right. Dirtying our rug here, our fully carpeted room, as you can see down there. But you guys were one of the real core bands of the DC hardcore scene at that time, once you got going. And if I recall correctly,
we were the core and hardcore. Yeah.
There you go. And you were also the first band on Dischord to release a full-length album. Is that?
That's correct. Yeah. Just kind of happened that way. A lot of the bands in DC kind of broke up before they were able to write enough songs to make a record. And then it took us a while to actually make a record. We'd already wrote a bunch of songs, and then we kind of threw those away. I wish we would have recorded our first batch of Scream stuff. We had all these, kind of really our first songs, and then we either didn't think they were good enough, or we just kind of moved on and wrote a whole another batch of new tunes. And we actually went on tour first, California, went around the country in like 1982 or 81, probably summer 81, something like that. And then we came back, and that's when Dischord asked us to do a record, and we had enough tunes to do an album, and so we did.
Yeah, so you went for the full length, and you have that honor of being the first full length on
That's
Dischord.
right. Dischord number 9.
The band itself has had a very interesting history in some ways. A lot of brushes with so-called fame. Dave Grohl being your early drummer. And then I believe it's your brother who went into the Foo Fighters?
My brother took Pat Smear's place for a while, and he kind of hung it up for a minute. And then Franz played for a couple years with the Foos. And Dave was our drummer for 4 or 5 years, and we did 2 albums with him. And then he moved on to Nirvana, and that's about the time that we kind of had a hiatus for a few years. Me and Franz stayed in L.A., and because that's kind of where the band split up for a minute, and then we'd only play on holidays when Franz and I would go home for Christmas. And but yeah, so since then we've been playing a few, usually get together once a year, at least at home. And we've done a few tours here and there, sporadic dates. Did one tour of Europe, which unfortunately that was 2011. Right after we put out a record called Complete Control Sessions that was on Side One Dummy, and we did that 2011. We did a tour of Europe at that time. We didn't make it to the UK, and then we pretty much doing tours the East Coast, West Coast every so often.
Yeah. And back in the day, you guys did a lot of touring over here.
Mm-hmm. We were the first band from our little scene to come to Europe, and it was an awesome time, and really opened up our eyes.
In what way?
Well, we weren't just aware of how things were in other countries, and the scenes in each country, and the politics, and the living conditions and social conditions, the squats, the community. So, kind of when you grow up in America, you kind of think you own the world, and then you get out, you find out there's a lot of other ways to do things.
Exactly. The world is a very different place than what we're taught.
So that was really great. Probably the best thing about being in a band was traveling and meeting people and just having a great time playing music.
Experiencing all these different cultures, which I'm guessing probably influenced you not just musically, but in your life as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've made a lot of friendships and lifelong friends.
You're back in the UK now for a few dates. You're playing Rebellion Festival.
Yeah.
Are you going to Europe as well, or the continent?
On this run, no. It's difficult to get away from the regular day-to-day stuff. We all have jobs and family, so we're lucky enough that we can get away and do these dates. So, no, unfortunately, we won't be making it. Hopefully, we'll be able to go back someday.
Hopefully very soon, because I know that a lot of people would really like to see, especially over Germany. And
I would love to get back there.
And Rebellion, is that your first time you're playing?
First time. Really looking forward to it. I've never even been to Blackpool. First time Scream played in the UK, we did like 9 dates, playing all these small towns all over the place. Yeah. Since then, it's always just been kind of, London and the 4 or 5 main cities, but never made it to Blackpool. I'm really curious to see the scene there. I've heard a lot of people talk about it.
It's an interesting place, but I will give you one small piece of advice: watch out for the seagulls.
Okay.
They are a bit vicious in Blackpool. They will come and steal your food if you've got them, and leave the good luck mark on your head.
Okay.
So be very careful of them.
The Blackpool Scar, I see.
Yes, exactly. And what's happening with the band now? Are you actively recording anything or planning to, or?
I mean, we'd like to. It's difficult. We all kind of, after we play, we all kind of go our separate ways, but we have a bunch of material we've been working on, have new stuff, and certainly love the opportunity to record. So hopefully, next year especially, we'll get a new record out.
Would look forward to that, because you guys, I've been listening to you since back in the day, and it's brilliant to finally see you. All these years, I grew up not far from where they come from, but never got to see them. So looking forward to seeing you tonight. Awesome. And hearing some new stuff as you guys get it out.
Yeah, we'll play stuff from Complete Control Sessions for sure.
Okay, good.
And something from most of our records. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, and I want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me, and we'll see you on stage very soon.
Okay, thank you very much.